Remember the first time I heard about the bots, right, and automation, and it all sounds like science fiction to most people. One of our great leaders in the organization told us once, we will have these tools or bots, or now we call it agents, AI, and they may work with us, or they have like 3 stages, right? Or maturity. They will work for us, they will work with us, and eventually we will work for them. We've been in the region for a long time. We've seen almost a generation of change happening in the region, in the government specifically. When we see at the very beginning, it was about setting the direction, the right foundations, the right teams, the leadership we're following, building from scratch almost, services, etc. Today, we see a completely different outlook out there. We see organizations that are actually right-sizing, being more efficient, focusing on going to market, servicing customers, not only the expected services, but transactional services that are more similar to private sector. And that is actually where we create the most impact. Some of the examples of this are delivering projects that are around defining the personas around customer experience. This is very relevant because in the age that we live today and the ambition that the governments have about digitizing or creating digital transformation projects, if you don't understand the process, the purpose of the process, who you're serving, all the steps, it's very difficult to draw data. So we've done that in the tourism, we've done that in agencies where regulatory aspects and the need to serve a specific type of customers. We've done other type of projects that maybe don't see the light, or you don't see it on the street or materialize on the street, but we're actually helping governments to be more efficient with the use of AI, machine learning, and we help them to be faster, more efficient, not to right size the organizations necessarily, which is what almost everybody's afraid of, but to do more in less time. And that's, I would say, the pride of the impact that we're creating today. A good implementation, or what stops a good implementation, which is what you're asking, is not having a good definition of what we need to do. So often what we see is not only the government, almost in every organization, it's quite relevant to understand what is the purpose of the transformation. So if I may, it's not transforming or implementing digital means and tools just for the sake of doing it because it is a hype, as I heard from some other participants in our event. It's not a hype. It's extremely important to understand the purpose. What are we addressing? What is the gap that we're closing? Why are we transforming? What is the impact that we expect? So understanding this from the leadership first, okay, so we can align the full organization towards the same result. That's what makes it or break it in the market. What I've seen here, specifically in this region, is the leadership style helps a lot because most of these initiatives come top down, and we have the privilege to work with most of the leaders to understand what is their vision, how it's completely defined, not only from the business perspective or customer perspective, but also what is their appetite to transform the organization and to invest. Because this is another key point that will make it or break it. If we don't know exactly what we're doing, we cannot expect the right returns. So what is the level of investment that we're going to do? And I'm not talking only about money or budget. We're talking about the commitment of the organization, the resources that are placed on the ground. And that, to me, is the secret formula. Specifically in the government, because many times we see the traditional approach is quite fragmented in terms of delivering results. Okay, the way we like to tailor this is in a few different ways, right? So facing the projects and understanding the specific objectives, as I mentioned before, to what they want to achieve is extremely relevant, right? So it's not a off-the-shelf solution that has been done somewhere else. It's more understanding the purpose and how we adapt our experience, past experience, to fit for purpose, right, in the government. One of the challenges that we've been seeing, and it could be, and it's actually being turned into an opportunity of using the digital means, is to identify those processes that actually can be digitalized and automated, okay? But it's not magic, right? Most of the people have the expectation that digital means will solve everything end to end. So this is impossible today. We will get there with some of the agents or AI agents that will orchestrate different other agents to solve different parts of the process. But unfortunately today, we're not there. We're testing some of this. We're helping some of the customers. And in my opinion, you mentioned a key things that are related to the government regulatory, for example, legal means. Take one agency in place, they have high dependency on other government entities. So how do we tailor our approach to this? Most of the times, we're not working just from within. We do have to engage the stakeholder ecosystem and understand those interactions would actually, in many cases, they're in silo. So our approach should be to create these collaborations. Our approach should be try to orchestrate integrating the value that goes as an output, connecting the different entities. And I see a bright future in this regard, because today we see that there's a lot of organizations that are collaborating more, connecting more, and digital means are enabling this. I will answer this question from the perspective of our organization here. And as I mentioned, I've been in the region quite some time and being blessed, to see the transformation. And it's almost a generation, right? We talk about in the past 20 years, we've seen many, many changes. And I remember the first time I heard about the bots, right? And automation and it all sounds like science fiction to most people. One of our great leaders in the organization told us once, we will have these tools or bots, or now we call it agents, AI, and they may work with us, or they have like 3 stages, right? So, or maturity. They will work for us, they will work with us, and eventually we will work for them, right? And that's when some people get a little bit, I wouldn't say scared, but skeptical that this will be the case. The reality is that is already happening, right? There are a lot of processes being automated out there. Take the traffic lights, for example, right? So they change, and it's all orchestrated. We actually behave according to what a machine is already programmed to do, right? But let's go in the government entities, for example, and how we change that approach. Let's go back to this stage. We normally started working with most of the government entities where this digital means and AI work for us. The evolution of this in our services is when we use these agents to work with us to deliver value. And I'll give you a few examples. Everybody wants to understand what is the benchmark, what others are doing, market analysis, market research, going faster into insights and faster to decision making. This would take X number of man hours, X number of meetings, X numbers of interactions. Today, with AI, it's someone who works with us. Today, if you're not using this means, today, if you don't go fast, leveraging these means, you cannot catch up with the constant changes and the constant demands of the citizens, of the ones that are receiving the services. So this transformative way of working is affecting all of us. The work that we do, the work that the clients are doing, and it's about collaboration between us and collaboration with digital means. Well, it's actually a given, right? So cybersecurity, data protection, data sovereignty, it's a given. It's not an option anymore, right? So even labeling it this way, it sounds like it's a different business altogether, a different set of competencies. Yeah, technically speaking, we can bring different competencies, different experts. But when we look at delivering value through our services, this is a non-negotiable component, okay? Data privacy, data sovereignty. So the way we deliver our services and our projects, it always has to have this component. I will explain this from a different perspective. So let's not label it cyber, right? Let's talk about uncertainties. When we work with technology and specifically leveraging data, okay, understanding the data, protecting that data, there are a number of uncertainties that could have a negative impact in our customers. If we're talking about public sector, a simple quote-unquote leak into the market, it could create a completely different sentiment and perception of what that government is doing, delivering their services. So it is part of our approach. It is always there, and it doesn't necessarily go in the back office, okay? It is very much in the front office. From my opinion, it's quite relevant in this world that we live in today, related to AI, and it's the trigger that AI is creating in many people across governments. It's creating entrepreneurship. It's creating the opportunity to define solutions from within, to own those solutions and to drive that change from within. And that's quite unique, because normally in the public sector, the past perception is a repetitive job, is very transactional, is already invented, there's no much to do different. Well, guess what? With the use of technology, we're seeing completely things that are completely changing those processes, triggering this entrepreneurship, and it's making, some jobs more fun even, right? Because people can actually develop their own tools and their own solutions. I was recently talking to one of my customers here in Dubai, and he was explaining to me how, without having the direction of the leadership, how he's transforming the way he's working using AI tools. Not with consultants, not himself, at the personal level. And you start seeing this happening more and more. And it's quite rewarding to work with clients that have the appetite, and I see that across the region, have the full appetite to learn, the full appetite to bring something new to the table and achieve different results.